The Kravenov family is one of the most feared families in the crime world, all thanks to the ruthlessness of one Nikolai Kravenov. However, after a hunting accident almost leaves his son Sergei dead, the two have a falling out. Sergei soon finds his near-death experience has given him new, incredible abilities. Not wanting to be like his father, though, Sergei uses his newfound powers to clean up the crime world, doing whatever he needs to do. This is Kraven the Hunter. Kraven the Hunter is the latest Marvel film from Sony. Just a second. And it's the last film from Sony Marvel. Or at least it was, before Sony backtracked on that, saying, oh wait, no, we're still gonna continue making these movies. Please watch them. It's like they saw what happened to The Flash and how James Gunn was advertising, saying, oh hey, everything afterwards, it's gonna be completely new. So no one saw The Flash, because why would anyone watch a movie that's going to be irrelevant in a year even? Not even a few years. But how is Kraven the Hunter? It's bad. It's a bad movie. It's a Sony Marvel movie where they take a Spider-Man character who should not be without Spider-Man and decide to make a movie about them. What else did you expect? I will give it this. It's better than Madam Web and Morbius for the sole reason that Aaron Taylor Johnson's not a bad lead and some of the action scenes are not half bad, but it's still a terribly written mess of a movie. This was supposed to be Sony's year. Marvel only had one movie. DC only had one movie. Sony had three. They barely had one win. For those uninitiated, I am a defender of Tom Hardy's Venom, but only that part of the film. If I could bottle up Tom Hardy and bottle up Venom and put them in a better movie, ideally with Spider-Man, I'd be a happy camper. But this ain't it, Chief. Playing Kraven the Hunter is Aaron Taylor Johnson, who is okay. He does the best with the terrible script he is given and plays a very generic character. I will not hold this film against him because he has Nosferatu coming out soon, and I expect him to be great in that film. I think given the opportunity, he would be a great Kraven. But not here. Here, he's just a great, generic character. That is the nicest way I can put that. And also, Russell Crowe's in this movie doing another silly accent. But really, other than Aaron Taylor Johnson being a good lead, this film is everything wrong with Sony Marvel movies. It is everything wrong with their lame and pathetic attempt to leash off the success of the MCU. This film has genuinely terrible writing, horrendous acting, horrible CGI, but most of all, it's boring as sin. Nothing interesting was happening at all for like the first hour. And once the second hour hit, it barely had my attention, but it had it for what it's worth. And that's mainly because it becomes kind of a crime boss turf war. Basically, imagine if Spider-Man's villains, who are notorious crime bosses, were at each other's throats and a guy has to go around and stop them. But imagine if that man was Kraven and it's none of Spider-Man's notorious crime bosses. Kingpin, Hammerhead, Tombstone, they're not in this movie. But you know who is in this movie? Spider-Man's biggest crime boss ever, the Rhino. That's like making a Batman movie set during a blizzard and the bad guy being Firefly. I can almost guarantee it. The thought process of picking the Rhino as the villain for this film went like this. So, you know, he's Kraven the Hunter, and hunters hunt animals, you right? So, we gotta pick an animal, and Spider-Man has a lot of animal-themed villains. So, you know, we're gonna pick the Rhino. The Rhino, he hunts the Rhino. The Rhino. More $1 billion, here we come. Oh, and don't even get me started on the Rhino. How do you manage to make The Amazing Spider-Man 2 look good? Those effects did not do that design any justice. I'm guaranteeing you they took inspiration from the Amazing Spider-Man tie-in video game. He looks like Senator Armstrong minus any of the meme ability. There's a scene in the movie where he's explaining his ailment and how his skin turns into the skin of a rhino. And then later in the movie, he just becomes a rhino with a horn and everything. Dude, I think you're just a rhino. You know the iconic opening to Cow and Chicken? Mama had a chicken, mama had a cow, dad was proud, he didn't care how. Well, it's clear to me that Mama also had a rhino, and I don't think Dad was proud at all. I could go on about just how bad Rhino is in this film, but I won't because I value my sanity just a little bit sometimes. This film really screams, we threw shit into a pot and just kind of released whatever came out. Because some of the writing in this movie is just so horrible. One of the characters in this film says almost exactly this. She died not long after that trip, and I haven't seen her since. Yeah, that's what dying means. And then there were a lot of characters I didn't even know were gonna be in this film until watching the movie. And it's not like a fun surprise either, like, oh hey, it's the Human Torch, that's fun. It's kind of just like, you know, it's there. Specifically, another Spider-Man villain who I won't spoil because I'm not sure how well it's advertised, who would have definitely made a much better adversary for Kraven. Maybe I'm glad he wasn't in full-blown bad guy mode more during this film because, woo, again, the CGI in this film is rough. For what it's worth, there is like a minute-long sequence near the end of the film where I went, okay, you got a point. That was kind of cool. I am a sucker for Home Alone style scenes with real-world violence. And they deliver on that. I will give them that. The traps are more Smurf-like than Kevin McAllister, but I still kind of enjoyed this scene, which is one of the reasons why I liked it more than Morbius and Madam Web, but I kind of dug that, so you get a point, movie. You get a point. But other than that one scene, most of the time Kraven is just running on all fours and doing the same thing Morbius did. Am I supposed to expect Morbius, Kraven, and maybe even Vulture to take on Null in the foreseeable future? You killed off / retired one of the few characters who probably could actually stand a chance to fight Null. So what am I supposed to expect now? I don't think they know either. Really, anything else wrong with this film is the same bullshit nonsense that Sony has been giving us for years now. Frankly, I'm sick of it. Even the Venom movies have all of these problems, but at least they have Tom Hardy to keep the films entertaining. I will watch and enjoy a bad comic book movie that has its fair share of camp, and the Venom movies have that camp. But this film, Morbius, Madam Web, they don't have that. I'm not gonna come on here and say Marvel Studios would make this film better, but I will say I don't believe they'd actually make it. It's insane to me that even when they have actual gold with the Spider-Verse movies, Sony's sheer incompetence is still prevalent in it somehow. I'm mainly talking about the fact that Beyond the Spider-Verse was supposed to release 9 months after Across the Spider-Verse? How is your incompetence this bad, Sony? I truly want Sony to stop. Full stop, give up, and work full-time with Marvel and give us Spider-Man and maybe even a Miles Morales Spider-Man movie too. That'd be cool. I think that would be good. Although Sony getting a once-over from Kevin Feige might have told them that this was shit. Although he did release Secret Invasion. I'm tired of these movies coming out. They just make me sad because really these are some of the worst comic book movies we could get nowadays. And also them scrambling for parts to make something worthwhile is just pathetic. At least Venom has the potential to be an anti-hero. Kraven, not so much. Yeah, this was bad. Please stop, Sony. Please. This movie, and really Sony making Marvel movies in general, really physically drains me. I'm that tired of it. I hope you all enjoyed this review, and if you did, please consider hitting that like button, and if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified when my next review drops. Until next time, I'm Quentin Dunaway, hoping you will keep it cinematic.